You guys stay out of this. If I'm the one these guys want, then that's what they're gonna get.
As the first direct sequel to Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 since its PlayStation 2 debut, there's something charming about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero's old-school design and presentation. It's tougher than Vegeta's chest plate and imbalanced in ways that are both annoying and lore-accurate. Menus are labyrinthian. Training tips are sparse and sometimes not very useful, but every battle is crafted with the sole purpose of putting the Dragon Ball Z fighting fantasy as it appears in the anime into our hands. Fast-paced key-slinging, teleport-kicking, and magical hair dyeing is great fun, so long as you're patient with its gnarly learning curve. As a result, settling back into the pace and precision of this brawler feels just as much like a labor of love as the effort to resurrect the series in the first place.
Oh no! Folks, should I maybe get the heck out of here?
It's undeniable how great Sparking Zero's characters and environments look in still screenshots. Every character, no matter what era of Dragon Ball they're from, looks better than I remember. In motion, things get a bit more dicey, with some cutscene animations in particular being awkwardly stiff. But at least the sound hits the mark.
If you want your little brat returned safely, Kakarot, prove your Saiyan spirit.
The raucous blast of key explosions and booming whooshes of Z fighters flying at high speeds are ripped straight off the screens of old TV episodes. Most of the iconic voices of the various series are recreated pitch perfectly by their original voice actors too, which is an important detail to get right.
Farewell, Bulma, Trunks, and even you, Kakarot.
Another win for my inner child was the truly immense roster. 180 plus fighters pulled from every nook and cranny of the series are playable. Many of these characters are repeated in some fashion. There are 19 versions of Goku, for example, but they all aren't simply reskins. They can have different special techniques and transformation trees, meaning base level Goku from the Saiyan invasion days has a different set of moves and a much lower upside than Buu Saga or Super Era Goku, who can transform into various Technicolor versions of Super Saiyan. These abilities can't be changed, but I could modify each warrior with ability items that boost things like attack power and health, though I barely noticed any benefit at all when doing so. The controls are universal for all characters, but some on the roster interact with the standard system slightly differently than others, which is an appreciated layer of nuance. Android characters can't actively regain ki in order to launch blast attacks, while gigantic characters like Janemba can't be grabbed. Sparking Zero makes no attempt to balance these differences either. Every time I was forced to fight a character that was canonically stronger than mine in the manga or anime, they were just as oppressive in-game as I'd expect. I didn't always like it, but I respect the commitment.
Let me see what you got.
Unfortunately, the bar to execute the various techniques of its diverse cast is very high and extremely frustrating. Inputs are simple overall, but early on, I often felt lost when combat picked up the pace. Part of that is admittedly on me. The last entry of the series I played with fervor, but that was right after Barack Obama was elected. The fast pace of Sparking Zero compared to Tenkaichi 3, mixed with the lax tutorial system, threw my 17 years older reaction speed out of the ring with ease. I spent a lot of time traveling back and forth between regular fights and the training mode to check and double check my understanding of when and how to use these techniques, as well as in the settings to adjust my button schemes and accessibility toggles. But really the only effective teacher was 25 brutal hours of getting kicked around. Also, compared to modern day fighting games, Sparking Zero's training options are rudimentary at best. There's no expectation to lay out frame data and hitboxes in a less competitively focused game like this, but targeted drills or a more nuanced customization of CPU behaviors would go a long way to help beginners and returning players fly up to the high skill floor. As you do damage and gain energy, a meter will charge that grants a skill point every time it fills. There's a handful of ways to spend these points, the most common being on unique skills each brawler has, like this and this one. But points also need to be spent carefully on transformations and the new revenge counter system, which works a lot like combo breakers from Killer Instinct. The timing on your defensive options is razor thin and can be a real bear to learn, but these can be life-saving. Unlike Key, which is also used for a variety of offensive and defensive maneuvers, the resource management decisions you have to make on a moment-to-moment basis really add a welcome bit of strategy to an otherwise frantic fight. There is definitely an old-school approach to a lot of the progression systems and menus of Sparking Zero. You can grind achievements which get you rewards like characters, costumes, and in-game currency at a healthy rate. There are microtransactions like a $35 season pass covering 3 packs of characters and 2 $15 music packs, but I didn't see any option to buy them without leaving the game and going to the storefront directly, a rarity in 2024. Similarly, so many of the menus are a hassle to navigate. For example, you can customize characters' abilities and costumes to be used in all modes, but those modes don't have paths to the customized screen within them, so you have to exit one completely and go the long way to make adjustments. This was barely acceptable in 2005, and we certainly don't have to live like this in 2024. The flagship single-player mode is called Episode Battles, which is a truncated retelling of the biggest Dragon Ball stories from various characters' perspectives. Just about every Dragon Ball game has done this in some form or fashion, but this rather exhaustive version does a good job at keeping the time between battles short and prioritizing the important moments versus making you play every single skirmish as Tenkaichi 3 did. The standout feature this time around, though, is that certain events can actually be cleverly changed for sometimes dramatic new outcomes. That could involve making a choice during a cutscene or ending a battle in a specific way that then changes the course of the story, sometimes dramatically. But not all of these side attractions are created equal, with only a few I've seen being truly jaw-dropping or substantial, like teaming up with Piccolo to kill Cell early.
You fall!
Episode battles can be very difficult, since powerful characters can become all but immune to your normal attacks and will always have the perfect defense to match your offense, making it tough to experiment and find these largely hidden special conditions when the pressure is on. You can lower the difficulty on a fight-by-fight basis in order to progress if you really need to, but these special tasks must be completed at least the standard difficulty, making finding them very much an endgame activity. But I did appreciate the effort to spice up the stories that have been rehashed ad nauseam.
What the?
There are also custom battles, which exist somewhere between Mario Maker and the Universe mode in a WWE game, using a toolbox full of special modifiers that limit what characters can and can't do in a given scenario, as well as some triggers that help program particular outcomes after conditions are met. These battles can potentially resemble more of a puzzle than just mashing digital action figures together in dream situations. There's a shoddy system for putting together dialogue so that some sort of narrative can be added to them, but the best it can do is loosely set up make-believe stakes. I had no plans to write my own entire Dragon Ball arc, but I'm not sure the tool's up to the task even if I wanted to. There are quite a few custom battles made by developer Spike Chunsoft baked in, and they don't really stretch the imagination that much. A few of them present interesting scenarios and specific parameters for victory, like seeing Kid Goku spar with Master Roshi, who can only be beaten by the Kamehameha. But I haven't come across an aha creation that really shows me the potential of this mode yet. Sparking Zero at least seems to break the Tenkaichi curse of truly abysmal online multiplayer by supplying some solid network play. When wired up, I found minimal latency and lag issues on livelier servers, or at least not enough to blame it for me dropping a combo or missing a parry. There is a local split screen option for people who want to duke it out in person, but it's disappointingly limited to just one stage, the white void of the hyperbolic time chamber. Even still, playing Sparking Zero with real people that you can hit with a dramatic one-liner or a guttural power-up scream is still the best way to do it by far.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is a final flash from the past, sometimes to a fault, as demonstrated by its archaic menus and remedial training tools. Its episode battles have the kind of reaction-heavy difficulty that doesn't really exist in most games these days, more than once crossing the line between challenging and frustrating. But the feeling of traveling back to a simpler time when games didn't have to be balanced or competitive to be fun is a good one, especially when that action stays so true to that of the show it's recreating. Reliving a story that was foundational to my youth, looking and sounding as great as I remember it, with the opportunity to alter it in sometimes dramatic new ways is clever, and the addition of tools to attempt to create your own stories could elevate the experiment even further if a community can figure out how to make the most of it. For more, check out our reviews of Metaphor ReFantazio and The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
You